Welcome to Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino. Get ready to dive into the wild world of Minnesota hunting, trapping, and wildlife. We'll be chatting with some folks who protect, manage, and promote the great outdoors. But don't worry, we'll also have some laughs as we chat about guns, whiskey, and anything else that catches our eye. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for a good time. Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and wolf.report. Wolf.report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation. All right, so today we're talking with TJ Brown from The Range and Tea Party Solutions. How's it going, TJ?
Good, guys. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming over. 3.5 hours, all the way from Fargo, Moorhead area, right?
Yeah, from our shop's in Fargo. So I live right behind the shop. So, about 3.5 hours. Nice drive.
Oh, that's a haul.
Yeah, that is a haul, especially for us on a Sunday.
On a Sunday morning.
Wow.
It was better than just sitting at home.
That's
true story.
That's true. Well, we appreciate you coming over.
Yeah, I actually brought some gifts for you guys.
I love gifts.
Oh, really?
So my boys, we were trying to teach them financial responsibility. So they started a business called Block Bros. They put together Lego people.
Oh,
and they got
so
you guys
cool.
some Legos. That's our
Are they ghillie
official
suits?
show sponsor. Yeah, some little Lego dudes and some scope rifles and ghillie suits.
Sweet. That's awesome. We're going to put them on our shelf back here for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. That is so cool.
They sell them online or anything?
So they did start a shop. It's Block Bros Bricks, Z's and not S's.
Okay.
And man, they sell them in my shop and just make a killing. A little $10 a piece, and
They are pretty neat.
they
Little
sold
ghillie suit guys.
4 just the other day.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to mention those.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the comments and everything.
Mhm.
That is so cool.
I love the little rifles.
I know.
So
That is
detailed.
awesome. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Me too.
That is cool. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That is cool.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first and a little history on
Yeah,
on you
you're
and everything.
originally from Tennessee, right?
Ish.
Okay.
Grew up moving around quite a bit. Childhood was split between Wilmington, North Carolina, and then Memphis, Tennessee, right on the border.
Okay.
So I went to high school in Mississippi. It's Olive Branch, Mississippi, and Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
right
okay.
there.
Yep.
Okay.
My wife and I met there. Moved up to Fargo in what year was that? Like 2012, and said this is too cold. People should not exist up here. So
Yeah.
I enlisted to escape there. Spent 4 years in the Army. All that time on a Navy base, though. Was a medic there, and then got out because I started at the hospital. Became a cop back in Memphis.
Okay.
I knew they were hiring, so it was easy.
Yeah.
So, and then after a little bit, moved up here. Was a cop in North Dakota for some time, and then started a business and doing that full time now. So,
Wow.
Awesome.
So you go from Tennessee to Fargo.
yeah,
Man.
moved to Fargo in August. This is the first trip. Moved in August. Like, man, this is nice. Tennessee was like 115 degrees. Fargo was like 70, and it was great. And then October we had a blizzard, and I was like, no, I'm done. Tennessee, they say it'll be Monday, and they say it's going to snow on Thursday, and they'll go ahead and shut down schools, shut down everything.
Yep. Yeah, and they get like 2 inches of snow and everything shut down, or it gets below like
Not
20
even 2
degrees.
inches. You get a light dusting, and everything
Really?
shuts down. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, around here, you basically got to walk outside and die before they shut down.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it has to be a combined 50 below. Nothing survives in 50 below. I don't care if it's combined. It's like,
Yeah, and your
seriously.
kids don't have to walk to school, but
Yeah.
49 below, they're getting out there and they're walking.
This probably the last 2 years, because my oldest will be going in 3rd grade. Probably the last 2 years, man, they've been canceling school a lot, and they'll say, oh, it's all virtual. We'll do a virtual day. And I logged the kid on. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that. Have a snow day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've noticed that
exactly.
more. Not so much in our district here do they
Yeah.
do that, but there's quite a few districts around.
Well, I
that,
think Hibbing does a lot of that.
Yeah, to where it's like, well, snow day, but it's virtual snow day.
No.
It's like, oh, come on.
No.
Just give the kids a snow day.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, this virtual thing, it worked for its purpose when it was needed.
Right.
But at this point, come on.
Yeah.
Give it
I
up.
mean,
Give it up.
kids need to be in school.
Exactly.
Like when we were, when we were younger.
Yeah. And when they're forced to pay attention.
Right. I don't know. Well, and then the iPad thing, which is, again, they serve a purpose, but man, these kids, they don't know how to write. They don't know how to type correctly.
Yep.
And it's like, I watch the kids, it's hunt and peck. I mean, I am like classic hunt and peck.
Man, you sound old right
over
now.
the years,
You sound so
I
old.
know, but it's just sad.
Yeah,
It's sad.
man, you're old.
We
am
are the classroom at our shop. We have everybody sign the wall when they take a class, and we do a lot of kids firearm safety classes. The second grader, perfect cursive.
Real cursive,
I
huh?
looked at the dad. I was like, "Did you teach him that?" He goes, "No, school did."
Really? Wow.
Yeah, his second grade teacher taught it. I mean, you read a lot of people's cursive and it's like, hey, you just had a seizure. What does that say? This kid's cursive. I mean, perfect. I was like,
Wow.
he's
Nice.
second grade.
I didn't even know kids learn that anymore.
I thought they had stopped too. I don't know if maybe it was just his teacher was like, no, we're doing this or what. But yeah, it was impressive to see.
Yeah, because even my kids who are young teenagers now, they struggled reading it sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they didn't learn it.
Yeah. I've always hated that growing up. They're like, oh, you should learn how to read cursive. It's like, you need to learn how to write it. Come on now.
Right.
And I pretty much write in hieroglyphics. So
Yeah, your writing is Klingon.
yeah, I should have been a doctor.
Pictures can be accepted sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So you own the range, which is a virtual shooting range, which I think is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So basically how we started, there's two stories that go kind of hand in hand with it. First time I ever took my wife shooting, there's this range back in Memphis called Range USA. They would do a date night. So you get like dinner and some free ammo and a lane rental all for one price. And really cool package. The problem is the entire city shows up for it. My wife having never really been around guns. We get out there. I think we rented an AR or something, and she started shooting. She's settling in just fine. Dude beside us opens up with a 12 gauge, and you know how loud that gets.
Yeah.
And she said, no, thank you, I'm done. And then fast forward when we moved up here the second time, had kids. It's January, and I have a 3 and a 6-year-old. I can't take them outside shooting, and they're too little to go to an indoor range. So that's kind of how I started looking into other things, got the virtual stuff, and I used it for some concealed carry classes. And yeah, that's basically how it started. So the nice thing is all the rules that apply at an indoor range. So, you go to an indoor range, what can you do? You can pick up your gun and you can put the same hole through the same piece of paper, maybe at variable distances.
Yeah.
So is there training value in it? 100%. Is there a lot of training value in it? It's debatable.
Right.
Where you come to my range, yes, there's no live ammo. You can, however, bring your guns and use our laser systems inside of them. Some you'll get full trigger reset. Some you have to work the action. It just depends on the gun. Everyone's different. But you can draw from the holster. You can move around in the lane. You can do barricade shooting. And then where my heart really goes to is the kids. You can bring my 5-year-old is in there shooting all the time. We have competitive IPSC courses on there. My 5-year-old will run that better than most grown men because he's in there shooting all the time, nonstop. Yeah,
that is really cool to get the youth involved in that. And yeah, I've been to shooting ranges and indoor ranges in Minnesota and in North Carolina, and yeah, they're awesome. They're definitely, the training value is definitely there. But like you said, you're just putting holes in targets. To where at least with yours. So much better, quieter, obviously, because I've been at a range to where we're shooting 9mm 45 and then, some guy pops in with a shotgun. It's like, really?
Go away.
It's like right beside you. And of course, he just got to, rack off 5-6 rounds at once or in concessions. Like, really?
Yep.
Can we take a break and everybody step back and he do his thing and then we get back to our thing? But
And I mean, it's good for any level of shooter. Any level of shooter can benefit from our place. My ideal client would be young family, young kids, borderline anti-gun, just scared of them, don't want to touch guns. That's my perfect clientele to come in. And really, we're a super easy gateway into the Second Amendment community. And that's really what we're trying to build. I love nothing more than when people come in, they're like, my kid's petrified of guns, and you can tell the parents are too. We just want them to be comfortable. That's what we're here for. Yeah. And, we do have some guns that are CO2 powered, so you actually get a little bit of recoil and blowback with them.
Oh, cool.
So, we have different levels of what we offer for training value. Right. It's there if you take advantage of it, for sure.
And you can bring your own gun in, right?
Sure can. So you can bring in see, pistols in 22, 380, 940, 45, 10 mil, 12, 20 gauge, or ARs. So, and again, some you get full, like if you bring anything that takes Glock mags, you'll get full trigger reset with it. ARs, full trigger reset with it. Shotgun, will work like a normal pump action. If it's a semi-auto, you got to run the action. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But had a kid in there because we have some trap software. Had a kid in there with this trap gun. Breaking it out, picking up the cartridge, putting it in there, set every record on the software. He was a 9th grader that was just burning it down, man.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that is so neat.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. And you guys do conceal and carry classes?
So I don't. I'm licensed to teach them, but because of the live fire portion that's required, it just doesn't make any sense. So we have a really good working relationship with Red River Marksmanship Center, the indoor range in West Fargo. And so we just send everybody out there to those guys.
All right.
So, it kind of benefits them. Honestly, I kind of don't like I don't. It's not that I don't like teaching it. I hate teaching North Dakota concealed carry. With the way North Dakota regulates their class, I absolutely hate it.
Really?
It's a terrible class. Yeah. Minnesota, on the other hand, love teaching the Minnesota class because I have a lot more freedom to actually do things. And
that's surprising.
Being a former cop, I have a lot of pet peeves with some concealed carry stuff.
Right.
And so Minnesota, I can get those pet peeves out. North Dakota, they're like, hey, if so-and-so happens, can I do this? And you have to say, well, state statute says this. And you're like, I'm not a lawyer. What does that mean? I don't know. Figure it out.
Right.
So
it's crazy that they're so different, but I suppose, different state laws and everything. We have some of those.
Well, because of that, though, North Dakota is one of the most reciprocated permits out there.
I suppose.
It has its benefits.
Yeah.
Right. But that's also one of the other things with our range is, it's crazy how many people strap a pistol to their hip and have never practiced drawing from the holster at all. And so, I get people that come in all the time, especially ladies, and they're like, oh, yeah, I carry my purse. It's like, show me. Yeah. Show me how to draw that gun. And they're like, oh, crap, I've never thought of that before.
You got to find it first.
Exactly. And so they're able to actually go through the motions, go through the draw stroke and see what works for them. So it's a good learning environment.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, to be honest, I carried probably 9 times out of 10 I should carry 10 out of 10, but it kind of depends on what the day is going to bring, or where I'm going. But I do feel naked when I don't have it on me. But I don't practice as often as I need to. There are times that I feel like an idiot because nobody else is home, and I'll unload the gun, and I'll start wearing it, going around the house and kind of just doing my own.
In his boxers.
Right. I'll do my own clearing of the house, and practice drawing and everything and all that. But luckily my wife hasn't caught me yet, doing that because she's like, what in the hell are you doing? But
you joke about him doing it in his boxers. But what are you going to be wearing when you clear your house at night when you hear the bump in the night?
Exactly.
So 100%, if that's what you're going to be wearing, wear it. That's what I tell people all the time when they come in to practice their holster draw. Wear what you're going to wear at work. Wear what you usually wear. Don't wear what's comfortable.
Yep.
Wear what you're probably going to end up carrying. And even if it's July, bring in your heavy Carhartt because Fargo's covered in snow more than half the year.
Exactly.
So bring it in. Yeah. Practice that holster draw so it by the time you put it on. You don't have to go reorganize everything and figure it out from there. So.
Yeah, and I've also practiced clearing the house with my other self-defense gun that I have.
Your crossbow.
It's a little bit bigger. I do have one of those. I thought about that. It'd be nice and quiet.
You never know, man.
It's a reloading on that crossbow that gets me every time. But
when I was a cop in Memphis, we actually had a drive-by crossbowing.
Crossbowing.
Call it.
That's awesome.
So they called it in a drive-by, and we couldn't find any signs of it. And one of my partners was like, hey, what's this? And there was a bolt sticking out the house. And sure enough, dude just rolled by with the crossbow.
Wow.
You can't arrest them for felon with a handgun if it's a crossbow.
I suppose.
But yeah, I've cleared my house again when nobody's home with even my other self-defense gun. And it's like, yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably be, butt naked, walking around with a gun.
Yeah. I totally
Nobody wants to fight a naked man.
Exactly.
That's why I look at it. That's my first line of defense.
Especially a fat naked guy running at him, screaming, Yep.
I'll make them think twice.
Exactly.
What's your carry gun?
I have a Mossberg MC1.
Okay.
And since Mossberg was a really big sponsor for him, DHA still is and everything. Mm-hmm. And they came out with, and I've been debating for years, what to get. And so, and it happened to be during COVID, and I happen to have that one in stock and mess with it a lot. And it takes the Glock 43 mags. So I was like, okay, sweet. I can get Glock 43 mags, I get Mossberg mags. So I carry that, and I'm looking to upgrade just because it's only a 6.7 rounder.
Okay.
So lower capacity, and I'm not that good a shot with it. I'm a lot better with my 45 because it's, full size and everything. And so I've been looking at either going to Glock 43X, which I'm not excited about the trigger, although I know I can replace it, or jumping to the SIG, 365 XL, or they've upgraded to the Mossberg MC2 SC, which is a 10 round. So just I can't decide yet. And then red dot or not, I've been debating on that as well.
You should throw in the Shadow System CR920 on there.
I do have one of those at work, and I play with that one a lot too. And I've been considering that as well.
I truly love the Shadow System setup. That's what I have on my hip now. Like 95% of the time, it's a Shadow Systems MR920 with the Hollow Sun EPS red dot or green dot on it. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah, those are nice. I have looked at the Shadow Systems. Yeah. It's just trying to, I really love that SIG trigger. I don't know what it is. I mean, everybody will say that too, but that SIG trigger is glorious.
If I don't have my Shadow Systems, it's a 365 XL, and the straight pull on that, it's just, I love that. Yeah. That gun in general. I just like to carry a full size. Right. Makes me feel like a man.
Right. Yeah. I know. And this was my first 9mm. I've never had a 9, never even shot a 9 before. And I bought it during COVID when all the ammo disappears. Like, yeah, this is great. I've got a carry gun that I've got like one box of ammo for. And yeah, this is really awesome. And so no, it's been good. I just like everybody else, I don't shoot it enough, to get proficient with it. That's my bad. But again, you don't carry to hopefully use it. You carry not to use it. So,
but you still got to know how to use it.
Yep, exactly.
That's another great thing with, my range is the ammo cost, man. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's only going to get more expensive, especially as this year continues on.
Yeah.
So, still get a lot of practice with, no cost of ammo.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And especially that you can use the ARs over there too. Yep. Of course, I'm pretty proficient with that, but I actually practice with that one more, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think we do, but
it's easier. With the range we go, it seems like the pistol range is always full up, and not that. And there's only the rifle range is larger. There's 12 stands
at least,
something like that. And the pistol range, there's maybe like 4 or 5. Yeah. So you get a couple guys, and I mean, it's one of those things where there and there's yours and yours, but. It's just one of those public people things, it's like, I'd rather just do it on my own, when nobody else is around other than my guys,
Don't want to embarrass yourself in front of anybody.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. It's like, I was aiming for the middle. I don't know why I hit over here.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I meant to shoot him in the crotch.
That's how I roll.
But yeah, I mean, if I practice with, the guns as much as I do my archery, then I guess it's the thing that just needs to be done.
You can go out there and get those arrows, though. It's hard to go out there and get those bullets.
Right, exactly. I think that's the other reason why I like the archery, and that's where this virtual would come in because it's
big time
reusable.
There's a pretty cool virtual archery simulator that's been coming out too. You can use your bows and broadheads on it too.
Really,
but we've looked at buying it. It's called like it's like Big Shot Archery or something. You can like upload your trail cam footage to it too. So that big old giant monster buck that you never see, you can actually hunt it. Yeah,
nice.
So that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
So how big is your place over there?
We're like 1,500 square foot. Okay. It's not super big. We got one nice, pretty decent sized classroom, and then the range. We don't need, since it's all virtual. We don't need 50 yards. So it's we have 4 booths and. All of them are about 11 by 11. Okay. So not super big. You can shoot up to 2 people at one time in there, kind of make it a competition. And
that'd be cool.
Got just enough room for what we need. Hopefully we'll do well and expand from there. So,
sure. Yeah. So you must have all kinds of different scenarios you can run in those.
So we have 4 simulators that are set up just kind of the games and the marksmanship stuff. Right. And then the one that we have in our classroom actually has the full judgmental shoot, don't shoot. And there's I think there's like 100 scenarios, and then each one of the scenarios has different branches that you can take in it and stuff. And I mean, it's not like the greatest, highest quality ever ever made, but it's not $100,000. So,
right. Oh, yeah.
So, and it's good. Most people have never been in situations like that at all. So, if you come in a seasoned patrol officer for, 20 years, yeah, you're probably not going to like it a whole lot. But, somebody who's, again, never drawn from the holster before, that's your first time really thinking, oh, wait, I may have to, act in self-defense. Yeah. It's perfect. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
so, that would be cool. Do you get local law enforcement come in and do it every now and then? Or
not yet. I think our judgmental simulator is probably a little below what most law enforcement. I mean, being a former cop, if I walked in there, I'd be like, all right, guys, really this again? I suppose. Yeah. When you're a cop, the training is you just want to be out before noon half the time nowadays. So we don't have a whole lot with law enforcement as far as the range goes. With Tea Party, the training company, we're really hoping to build into that. We got a pretty good Rolodex of instructors built out. So
yeah. Well, that kind of brings us into Tea Party Solutions. Yeah. So explain that a little bit.
So first off, the name Tea Party Solutions, I'm a bit of a history buff, and I'm sure somebody will tear me apart in the comments about this, but to me, the Boston Tea Party was the first time that the American spirit really said, hey, we're fed up. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. So, in no way are we like advocating go out and, pour a bunch of tea in the harbor. That'd be pollution. Don't do that. Right. But that was the first, in my opinion, that was the first major time that you could really see a group of Americans saying, hey, we don't like that. Don't do it anymore. And that's kind of what we're built off of. There's a lot of stuff going on, not to get politically, there's just a lot of stuff going on that we don't necessarily like. So we want to build the Second Amendment community, but we also want to prepare people, not just in firearms. We want to prepare people medically, which we'll talk about a little bit. And then, we've got firearms classes, everything from your very basic concealed carry, basic pistol, basic rifle, to low light, no light shooting, stress shooting through vehicles. And then we're putting together survival classes, always looking for instructors to teach winter survival, ham radio, stuff like that. It really got started because, and the range as a whole, I'm a bit of a prepper. And so I took a really weird route to prep. It's like, well, if I own a gun store and can buy all this stuff, then it's just one giant prep for me,
Right.
And so that's kind of how that started. And then I've, always wanted to do a lot of these trainings, but they're all Arizona, Texas, Florida. So you pay $1,000, $1,500 for the training. Then you got to fly down there and pay for your hotels. And there's just not really much in this area. And so it's like, well, if I can't teach it or go to those, then I'll find people that can teach it and I'll just own the company. So why not?
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Slowly trying to build that out, and there's hopefully good stuff to come with it.
Yeah. So you guys travel around, kind of wherever to do some of these trainings, or?
So right now the firearm stuff is all local.
Okay.
The medical stuff, since I teach that, I'll drive wherever. And then we do a lot of church and business security, something else we're passionate about, and we'll drive pretty much wherever for those also.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because you were a medic, right? You said you were a medic.
Yep, I was a medic in the Army. Did nothing cool. I spent all my time on a Navy base. I know more about the Navy than the Army. I worked on the wounded warrior floors, just taking care of those guys. So I was more of a nurse than a medic. But it's one of those things. Every job I've had, I've always put a lot of effort into learning it to the fullest, and so got a lot of experience. And then when I got into law enforcement, Memphis, I don't know if you know, is one of the most violent cities in America. So got a lot of experience responding to stuff there, and really saw a hole that, law enforcement hadn't really been trained to respond to medical situations.
Yeah.
And, usually the way it was seen for a long time is, well, we're just here for security. We'll call the paramedics. But the thing is, sometimes it takes a long time to secure those scenes.
Yeah.
And so, as the medic, I was usually the guy that they're like, hey, we'll go secure the scene if you want to start doing this stuff. And frankly, I just got tired of being the one with blood on my hands. So it's like, hey, let's start. I started training my partners at my precinct, and then the department, they started a medical program. I didn't really have anything to do with that, but they started their own thing. So the department got trained, and then when I came up to North Dakota, I really helped to kind of kickstart the medical program at the department I was at there. And yeah, man, I mean, it's a great training that everybody needs. Most people think, oh yeah, in case you get shot. What if you're in a farming accident or snowmobile accident? You need this stuff.
Right, you fall out of a deer stand and break your leg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's pretty cool because
everybody thinks of the gun end of it. They don't think of the receiving end of it.
Yep.
Right.
They think, hey, Christensen came out with a super cool, 6.5. Let me go spend $2,000 on that. So, tourniquet costs you $30, man.
Right.
Buy a good tourniquet. And, depending on where you're hunting and what you're doing, obviously your loadouts, if you're backcountry hunting in Montana, that's going to look different than stand hunting in Minnesota.
Right.
Doesn't mean you don't need stuff. I mean, there's very basic stuff that no matter where you're at, your kit should have. Tourniquet, chest seal, wound packing gauze. Boom. I mean, super simple, doesn't take up much room. But then the other side of that too is how do you carry it? Because that's the stuff you need on you. When every time I've pack hunted and there's a big buck off in the distance, I'm just drop my pack and I'm take off running. And obviously I've never got anything. But if you're a guy that does drop your pack a lot and that's where all your medical stuff is, you're a mile away from your pack. You're not getting there.
Yeah.
So you do have to have some stuff on you and know how to use it. And, that's one thing we do through Tea Party is we do a lot of our classes are free. Stop the Bleed is a great class for what it is. It's not super advanced, but it really puts the cookies on the bottom shelf, if you will, makes everything really easy to understand and completely free class. If you ask me to drive a couple hours, I'm probably going to say, hey, pay for my gas. But I'm more than happy to come out and teach it. The trap teams at local high schools, I've been trying to get to crack that egg for a long time. You give a bunch of kids guns, teach them how to, treat a wound, and haven't had the best of luck getting it into schools. I have with some. But it's stuff that, especially if you're around guns, if you carry a gun for concealed carry, if you're nobody plans on doing harm to somebody.
Right.
But if you're prepared to do harm, you should be able to be, prepared to fix what you did.
Right.
And especially nowadays with the world we live in with litigation, the liability aspect of injuring somebody and not helping to fix it, you save yourself a lot of potential lawsuits by just being there to render aid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then in the hunting end of it, I don't have a med kit with me. Yep. I have one in my truck, but it's the basic first aid kit that's probably got
your boo-boo kit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can maybe fix a cut. Yeah. Or not even fix it, but I could maybe stop it from bleeding, or instead of the old electrical tape or duct tape, I might be able to do that. But as for, the hunting end of it and whatnot, I mean, we had a buddy years ago, fell out of his tree stand. He was moving his stand, fell out, ended up breaking his leg.
In the middle of the woods, swamp.
Yeah. And luckily had just enough cell service to call people.
He tried to call us, but we were both unavailable.
Right. I think we were actually both hunting. Or I think I was on the road. But so then he called actually my wife. And so her and another gal were going through the woods trying to find him. Of course, in the meantime, they called 911. Well, he's out in the middle of nowhere, and so they found him first, and then the medics came and whatnot. But it's like,
that could have been real bad.
It could have been real bad. Obviously, they saved his foot and everything, but it's just one of those things to where you never know when something like that's going to happen.
Right.
And maybe he wouldn't have been able to treat himself just because of shock and everything. But, like my wife and whoever went out there with him, if they had a little bit of training just on top of that, to render a little bit of aid before the medics got there or anything like that. So
I mean, there's a couple parts just to that story. One, you've got to have the gear, and you don't just FYI to everybody, don't go buy your tourniquet off Amazon. Every single one on Amazon is a Chinese knockoff. Like they have the stamps and everything 100% looks just like a normal one, completely fake. I've seen them snap a couple times. Don't buy it off Amazon. So buy a very reputable stuff. Sure, it may cost you what you would usually spend on a box of ammo, but it may also save your life. So, the cost versus reward there.
Yeah.
Every kit, no matter what kind of hunting you're doing and where you're going, you need to have a tourniquet. There's so many tourniquets out there, and you get on Instagram and it's all these cool new tourniquets. This one's made for EDC and this one's made for this. I've tested almost all of them, and just about all of them are junk. You stick to your very normal tourniquets. If you don't know, look up, just Google TCCC, TCCC, approved tourniquets, and there's like 5 of them that'll pop up. The 2 best are going to be a cat tourniquet. That's kind of what really started one of the original OGs tourniquets. That's really what came through in Afghanistan and Iraq, the original war on terror. And then the soft T, which kind of got developed from the cat. I personally carry a soft T on me all the time. There's a couple differences. The biggest reason I do is, especially hunting with my kids, I have a 5-year-old. The cat tourniquet won't cinch down on my 5-year-old. The soft T will. Okay. So the soft T can work for me or my kids. It's great. There's some stuff there's tourniquets out there like a rat's tourniquet. You go to a local Shills, you can pick up a rat's tourniquet for $10. And so you see a lot of them. They're junk. They were really, really, really good for what they were made for, but that was a very specific purpose in Afghanistan. We're not hunting in Afghanistan. Yeah. So, it's not good for here. So you don't just go buy whatever's cheap or whatever you see the coolest YouTuber using on Instagram. Right. Really do some research and then seek out how to use those things. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to properly do a tourniquet. You go to North American Rescue or TACMed Solution. They have full, they call it like their universities. They have full video libraries on how to do all of it. And it's completely free. Just watch a 10-minute video. It'll help you, or find somebody that can teach a stop the bleed class or a TACMed class.
Right.
Then wound packing gauze, there's a whole lot out there. If you're going to be hunting, especially in our region or anywhere where you may be more than 30 minutes away from medical care, go ahead, spend the extra $50 and get the combat gauze, something that has a hemostatic agent in it. Whoever you save will be greatly, we'll really appreciate you spending an extra $50. And, I get it. Money's tight when you're looking at something that can cost you $75 or it can cost you $150. Sure. Usually you're going to take the $75, but again, cost versus reward there. If it's something that you're just using inside the town or throw in the cab of your truck, sure, you're not too far from medical care. Maybe buy something cheaper, but especially when you're out far. And the way I always think about it, because I always try and take my kids out in the woods with me. If my kids are with me, would I spend the extra money to save my kid? 100%. 10 out of 10 times. I don't think there's anybody on earth that would say no. And that's the way I always look at it. And then other than that, chest seals. I mean, you have guns. Accidents happen all the time. Chest seal. It's super simple. Just get a chest seal with you. And those are the very 3 basic, like without a doubt, anybody that says, hey, what should I have in my med kit? Those are the 3 things. Now we can go further from there. Like your buddy fell out of the tree saying a SAM splint to splint a leg and then a wrap to hold that SAM splint. Obviously, he really would have wanted that. Especially if you're backcountry, you're just far away from a major road or no cell service. It's something you're going to want, because that's going to be the difference between you walking out of there or you hoping somebody comes looking for you because you didn't turn up at home. Yeah. So, real simple stuff. And then, like I was saying, how you carry it. A big kit with a SAM splint, that's going to be hard to carry in your cargo pocket. So I really, really, really push they're made by TACMed Solutions. It's their PMK pocket medical kit. So TACMed Solutions, PMK, that's the hands down the best trauma kit on the market. I've used them professionally in law enforcement for many, many years. I have went through those things like crazy in Memphis. Best kit you can get out there. It's got wound packing gauze, a tourniquet, chest seal, a couple other things. They fit perfectly in a cargo pocket. That's what they're made for. You put them in a cargo pocket, you don't feel that it's there. And that's always going to be on you. Then you can have your little boo-boo kit and your SAM splints and stuff and your other wraps in your bag. Sure, maybe you dropped your pack and you got away from it, but you have to crawl to your bag. Cool. Now you can splint it and walk out after you get to your bag, Right. But then the biggest component is learning how to use it. Because once you go through the classes, like when I teach a tactical medic class, we go really deep into the weeds as far as making improvised tourniquets and improvised splints. So cool, you have one tourniquet. I want a lot of blood thinners. One tourniquet's not going to work on my leg. So, all right, well, now what do I do? Now I'm going to need to improvise something. And you can, improvising a tourniquet isn't as easy as it sounds, because you can end up really causing some harm to yourself just wrapping something really tight around your leg and hoping it works. So it's that education component is so critical, and it's super easy to learn. It's super easy to teach, really. Like usually after you go through the class, you're like, damn, I actually knew most of this stuff. But it's, you having all the information put together in front of you in an organized fashion is, it's usually like my TAC med class lasts 4 hours. Stop the bleed class is 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. It'll save somebody's life one day and you'll never regret going through it.
Yeah, I follow some guys online that teach some of that. They do awesome examples of how to stop the bleed with gauze and what to use if you don't have the gauze. And it's and then that made me, I bought a bigger kit this year. I don't know how great it is. Have you heard of the company My Medic, I think?
Yeah.
I bought one of their big kits.
So I like My Medic, and there's actually, and if you look at my truck right now, I have 3 med kits in my truck. One of them's a My Medic.
Okay.
The problem with My Medic is sometimes they'll throw in like the rats tourniquets that we were talking about.
Okay, and I haven't really checked. I know there's tourniquets in there. I haven't looked at what
it's more than likely a rats tourniquet. Okay. Most of the companies like My Medic, not to trash them, they're a great company. They do have really good kits. They're made to be compact and fit in small spaces. So usually when it's a kit like that, it's going to be something like a rat's tourniquet in there, because you get a rat or a cat, or a soft T or a cat tourniquet. It's got that bigger windlass on it. So people are like, oh, that's uncomfortable. A little bit of discomfort, bleeding to death.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to go with?
Right.
So, and like I said, I have a My Medic in my truck right now. But I'm well aware of what's in there and know. So that's another thing. A lot of people just buy the kits and like, I got a kit.
Yep. Yeah, sounds like something I might have did.
What's in that kit and how do you use what's in that kit?
Right.
Because there's a lot of people out there making these med kits and selling them and like, oh, this will save your life in case of a zombie apocalypse.
And they've never used it.
Exactly. There's nothing in it. You open it up and it's some Band-Aids and a gauze. Like, cool, I'm not going to pack a gunshot wound with a 4x4 gauze. What are you doing, man?
Yeah. Well, I remember in college I took first aid and that course and whatnot as an elective because I need another class. And it was amazing on how much you go into. It's like, I don't need to know this or whatever, but I retained a lot of it. And I was glad that I took that class luckily I've never had to use it, and obviously the certification went away and I never got recertified, but I wish I would have. But a class like this is kind of almost the same thing. Preparedness, not that you ever want to use it, but if you do need it, it's there.
It's literally going to save your life.
Exactly.
Or somebody else's.
And I think and that might be something to look at for, firearm safety, just a simple stop the bleed for the youth and everything.
Every firearms class that Tea Party teaches, it pisses people off sometimes because I didn't sign up for this. I don't care. You're in my class. Every firearms class that Tea Party teaches starts with a tourniquet class. Quite frankly, I don't know you and I don't trust you on the range. So let me teach you how to put on tourniquet. And that's from the very basic all the way to the advanced stuff, because accidents happen. That's just the way the world works. It happens, whether it's an accident or it's negligent. It happened. Let's fix it and help you get somewhere that's going to help you from there. Especially, you go to the gun ranges and you don't know who's shooting beside you. You don't know their skill level or, if they're intoxicated at the moment. Right. So be prepared to fix yourself because you can't trust them. Be prepared to fix them because maybe they're just stupid.
Right. Well, and when when you call ceasefire and you go down range to, move targets, well, there's a line of 6 guys back up there, and it's like you don't know,
fiddling with stuff,
and around showing, hey, buddy, look at my gun, look at this. It's like, actually, I think we had that almost same instance a few months ago. It was actually Jared and I. We were out at the range, and there's a few other guys to our right, and we called ceasefire, and we were gonna. So I was gonna go down to check the targets. I go, you stay up here. I'll go move our targets because if one of them picks up a gun, I want you to take care of that so I don't get shot down range, And because even as we were sitting there, kind of waiting, they're probably good guys and whatnot. I have no doubt that they were safe, in a way. But again, oh, hey, let me look at your gun. Let me look at this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's like,
only takes a second.
Yep, exactly.
And when it comes to tourniquets, if you only want to learn one thing and you got 10 minutes to spare, learn how to put on a tourniquet. And that's, you go to walk into any firehouse, any police station, any ambulance place or hospital for the most part and say, hey, can you teach me how to do this real fast? maybe not the hospital, but the firehouse or the police department, somebody's going to be like, yeah, I'll show you how to do this tourniquet. They may not be professional at it, but at this point, most every police officer has been through some kind of tourniquet class. Most every firefighter has been through some kind of tourniquet class. It's not hard to seek out these people to teach you how to do it. My range personally, we have my tourniquet set up. And if you walk in and say, hey, teach me how to do this, whoever is working the front will say, yeah, sure. They'll stop what they're doing. They'll go teach you how to do a tourniquet. It takes 5 minutes out of my day, and it may save somebody's life one time. So it's 100% worth it.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. I like, that's something that we should look at.
Well, it's extremely valuable information.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So it's good. And I mean, from a business perspective, it's a great community outreach. Again, Stop the Bleed class takes me 45 minutes to teach. It's well worth my time, but it's a service I can offer the community for free and get people to come in my shop. Yep. Sure. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, we do kids firearm safety from ages 5 and up. They come in. Again, we have no live ammo. So I don't have to be concerned about a child doing something and watching them all, fully. And completely free class, 100% free. The parents bring them in. We teach them everything. So pistol, shotgun, rifle, how to make them safe and clear. We'll go through them, teach them all the nomenclature and stuff. And then when they come up to shoot them on our simulators, it's, hey, here's a Glock, make that safe and clear. Okay, cool. Now let's go shoot it. Here's a shotgun, make that safe and clear. Cool, let's go shoot it. Same with an AR. And class usually takes about an hour and a half, depending on how many kids we have in there. And the people who benefit from it the most are the parents. I see, because I always tell the parents they have to stay in the building, but they're more than welcome to just go shoot on the lanes while, the kids are in the classroom. Every single class, all the parents are there paying more attention than their kids are. Yep. And especially, the first one we taught, I think, one of the dads, he was asking so many questions. And at the end, he goes, hey, man, how do I take a class like this? He said, I know nothing about guns, and I want to get my kids into it, but I know nothing about it to get them. I was like, just come to another class, man. Come in and talk to me. We'll get you taken care of. We can, whether it's a paid training or you just say, hey, man, I don't know, please teach me. More than happy to. And that's how, all the gun stores, sure, we have to make money, but building that community, I think, is going to benefit us in more ways than one.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, with everybody being trained and have safer communities for sure.
Yep.
Well, just teaching people the respect for the firearm is, I think, one of the greatest things.
With all the struggles we have in the Second Amendment community, why are we not helping giving that education aspect as much as possible?
Right.
Yes.
So, right. And it's really on people like us to do that.
Yep.
I mean, you can't expect somebody who is scared of a firearm to do it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to.
And you don't want to leave it to YouTube. There's some great dudes on YouTube. There's a lot of great information. Mm-hmm. There's also a whole lot of garbage information.
Yeah.
But somebody who's never been in the world before, they can't tell you the difference between a Glock or a SIG or a 9 or a 40. How can we expect them to just watch YouTube and really know, okay, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That guy actually does,
Yep.
I just try and reach out to, the community as much as possible with the training aspect. And like I said, teaching Stop the Bleed to like kids classes, is unfortunately with the world we live in, it's very much needed in schools. So
yeah.
And our kids went to the firearm safety through a Forkhorn camp, Deep Portage.
Right.
And, and before they went to firearm safety, I know we would shoot, a couple of times a year, especially in the fall or whatever. And I've always taught, my kids, gun safety and the basics and whatnot. But just going through that firearm safety class and then coming back from that, and then, they had a better understanding of everything, more than obviously what I could teach them, because it was just the basics, and that class really helped them and helped them grow to understand what a firearm is and what it can do and whatnot. And I think, by having even, a Stop the Bleed in that, class would be awesome.
Yeah. And, like my 8-year-old, my 5-year-old, no, but my 8-year-old, he can put a tourniquet on me. Yeah. And it's fine. So, me and him are out turkey hunting like we are in the spring. If something happens, cool. He can put a tourniquet on me, and he at least knows that's our heading. You're going to run that way, and you know where the truck is parked. You know, pop a tourniquet on me, go to the truck, handle it from there. And that's just preparing the next generation, preparing everybody that we're out there with. That's going to help us all, you know, get to a lot better place.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And one other thing that the kids learn at camp was the orienteering and the compass.
Right.
You know, and the
Such
mapping.
a lost skill.
Oh gosh.
I don't know how. I have a compass. I have it in my
Onyx.
pack. Yeah, and I have Onyx, and I've never used my compass.
Exactly.
But there's been times where I've been hunting or where I used to hunt, and it's like, and we got deep in the woods. It's like, okay. And the gentleman who I was hunting with, he goes, "Do you know how to get back to the truck or how to get out of here if something happens?" It's like, I have no idea. I'm from southern Kansas.
Really
there's not this many trees. I know if I go this direction, that direction. It's like, he goes, if you head north, you know, you'll hit the road in 2 miles. You got to go through a swamp, but you hit a highway. If you head east, nobody will ever find you. You head south, you're going to hit a lake and another road. You could get out that way. You head back west, you're going to hit the road again and probably find a truck. So as long as I know that, but then the problem is no cell service. I didn't have a compass. And where I was from, I could tell my directions because of, you know, landscape. But when you're deep in the woods, I've gotten better now. But when I first went up here, I had no idea what the direction I was going.
Well, that's, you know, being from Mississippi, like growing up being a kid's always in the woods. You don't care where you are. The woods aren't that thick. You can see the end of them usually. But then you come up here, especially like in the Itasca area. Yeah, you'll be lost for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can go missing real quick around here.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so learning that compass and those kind of skills are great, you know, education pieces as well. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just something to, again, educate the youth, educate everybody on how to do that.
Right. Yeah, and I think showing them how to stop the bleed it serves more than one purpose. Obviously, it teaches them how to save their life or somebody else's, but it also makes them aware of some of the dangers. You know, it shows them what can happen.
The one overlooked aspect of it too is the confidence that it builds, and not just kids, people in general, but especially the confidence that kids gain. You know, a lot of people nowadays they want to shelter their kids. Oh, we don't want my kids to know the world's that violent. We don't want them to see this kind of stuff. You know, I have one of the softwares that we have on the range is zombie shooters. It's so animated, doesn't look real. And they're like, "Oh, my kids can't see that." I'm like, your kid's 18. What are you talking about? And you know, I respect, you know, parents how they want, but at some point you got to let kids know that there's dangers out there, that they're going to face some problems, and just the confidence level that, you know, when our tourniquet arm is squirting blood and I'm like, he's dying, help him. And then they stop it. I'm like, you just saved their life. It's an arm that's not even attached to anything. Right. And that kid's like, oh, I just learned how to save somebody's life. They walk out a different kid, and they're like, I can do something on my own now. And it's awesome to see, man. It really is.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And you also have a podcast too, right?
Yeah. So same name as the training company, Tea Party Solutions. Hopefully start interviewing some good guests. I think we only have like 4 or 5 episodes out right now, but we're really focused with that. One, trying to build the community better, obviously trying to get the word out there about training and stuff. But our main focus is kind of business, trying to help other law enforcement, not just law enforcement, other first responders who were in a spot like me, you know, really, really love the job and love helping the community, just need to find a different avenue to do it in, how to get out and do their own thing. You know, that was one aspect of starting the range is I didn't want to leave law enforcement. It wasn't really my intention. Things happened. I left. But I still wanted to help the community. And that's, you know, with the range, it's just my way of giving back and still being a positive influence to the community instead of just living life on the couch.
Right. For sure. No, I think that the range, that sounds so cool. Yeah. I mean, I wish we had something like that around here. Honestly.
I know. We could do a range east.
Hey,
there you go.
East range.
My plan for the range is hopefully get it to the point that it's franchisable.
There you go.
And then find other areas and find first responders that are again in that same situation. I can say, here's this business all packaged up, a bow on top. Don't let it fail.
Yeah.
And, you know, let them have their way out. And it's dude, it's so good for areas that are a little bit stricter with gun laws.
Exactly.
A lot of training companies and gun companies like, we're not going to touch Illinois. Well, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of 2A advocates in Illinois that are just hamstrung now.
Right.
And, Minnesota's trying to pass some funky stuff. And so it would be really good for states, like that, where you can go in and now you have the ability to train and do stuff, but you're not going to become a felon by doing it,
Right.
So, and you're not wasting ammo. Some of the states are really hard to buy ammo in nowadays, Illinois being one of them. Yep. And now, cool, I can go get that training. Is it, do I have the recoil of the rifle? No. But am I still getting all the benefits of training and getting my trigger squeeze and my sight presentation? 100%.
Yeah.
So,
right. Well, and then the other thing is certain areas that don't have indoor and/or outdoor ranges easily accessible. I mean, we do have a small indoor range and an outdoor range locally. Right. But otherwise, the next range would probably be Proctor.
Yeah.
Because the one in Brainerd, I believe, closed. And then, of course, Off Grid with their outdoor range.
Yep. Great place, by the way.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that is, within an hour and a half.
But yours, what I like about yours is easily accessible for anybody.
We're located in the busiest shopping center in the Fargo Moorhead area. We're connected to a tanning salon and an ice cream shop.
Okay.
So, I get people that when we first opened up, and they're like, I can't believe you're against the Second Amendment. You don't allow live ammo. I'm like, dude, it's a tanning salon next to me. Like, I have to make sure you don't crank off around and hit somebody in a tanning bed. Like, well, what are you talking about? I'm quite the opposite of anti-2A.
Right.
And, it's, again, just making it accessible and easy.
Right.
You go to the range, you have to carry all your stuff, carry all your ammo, make sure you have your eyes and your ears. I got to the range and I don't have my eyes and ears. I guess we're turning around.
Right.
And, it's none of that applies where I'm at.
Right. Certain ranges you have to buy their ammo. They don't let you bring yours.
It just makes it that much more expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
And everything. And then, even for, the virtual, there's liability's got to be a hell of a lot less, because obviously there's no live ammo.
There's nothing flying back and forth.
Yeah.
So we don't have, I guess not back and forth, nothing flying down there. But we don't have that worry. And that's, people hate on it because, hey man, you got a gun with you? Yep, I got to check it. Notice I don't ask, are you concealed carrying? If you're concealed carrying, cool. Like by all means, I guarantee if you come in my range, I've got one on me. But if you come in with a gun in a case, I've got to check it. That's that's the nature of the beast. So just get over it.
Yep, exactly.
That's just how it goes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to check that out sometime.
Yeah, come down. We'll have you on our podcast.
Yeah. We'll have to make a road trip. We got to start looking on our calendar and try to schedule everything. Let's see. We got to go down to APF.
I listened to that the other day.
Yeah,
I need to.
I
liked it. I had some APFs in the shop. Actually, those were the first ARs I bought to sell because everybody in the area is very loyal to local stuff. So I was like, I don't know what kind of ARs I want, and I probably had 5 people tell me APFs. I personally never had one before, and so I ordered a couple of them. And when I ordered it, I ordered a black one, an OD green one, and I told the sales guy, I was like, man, I kind of want something that appeal to a lady. He's like,
tactical mermaid.
No. He goes, this is going to be crazy sounding, but hear me out. He's like, get the rose gold. He's like, I sell it to Moore's guys. Dude, that rose gold's one of the nicest rifle. Like it's a pretty rifle, man. I wanted it myself.
No, that's pretty cool. So you guys, you have an FFL and a gun shop as well.
We do FFL, SOT, and all that good stuff. We don't keep a whole lot in stock. New business, just try and keep the overhead low. So we do, we do so many transfers. And the online stuff, it's so hard to compete with now anyways.
For sure.
Honestly, and you know how the gun industry works. Usually I make more off a transfer than I do a new gun anyways. So my transfer fee's $30 for those of you that are wondering. And usually that's more of a profit than than a normal gun. So
yeah, for sure. Well, that's pretty cool. So we got to make a trip APF off grid, out to the range
for sure. It's all kind of west, so we can probably do it all.
That is true.
We can take a week and do it.
I want to say we're like an hour 15 from Alexandria, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Ish.
I suppose it would be. Yep.
Yeah, I try to think of how far I am with the speeds I drive at versus what I'm supposed to drive at.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. Yeah. We could make a week of it.
No doubt. Right.
That would be awesome.
We should just do a circuit.
There you
All
go.
of us get together, get off grid in on it, just do a big circuit. We'll teach stop the bleed everywhere we go.
Boom.
There we go.
Yeah, kind of like a poker run. There you go.
Yeah. We'll just take the camper with us and we'll just stop where we go and put a big sign on it, stop the bleed. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Sounds fun to me.
Ideas. We got ideas. So you mentioned, so you hunt a little bit, kind of getting into it.
Trying to get into it more. Yeah.
Okay.
Growing up, so my dad's a pastor. My family's always been in the ministry, and we always had the great benefit of having a lot of wild game that was just given to my dad because he was a pastor. So we didn't necessarily have the need to hunt. We always grew up shooting, though. Got my first rifle. My dad said, if you make all A's and B's, then I'll get you your first rifle. And I made all A's and B's, and of course, math, I had a D in it. But luckily, I lucked out, and she wrote in my grade, so 76. I was able to change that 7 to a 9, and my parents were none the wiser for quite a while. So, that got me my first rifle and just really developed a love of shooting. We'd go out in the woods all the time. So grew up in the woods and shooting, just never really the combination of the two.
Yep.
And then really got to the point, especially when I had kids, that it's like, hey, I don't know how to skin and clean this. That's a problem. I can have all the preps in the world, but if I can't clean a deer, then I guess we're just SOL.
Yep.
And, again, trying to make my kids more self-reliant. And so kind of something that, one, we've taught ourselves a little bit, but really found people that are big into hunting and developed some relationships there. Like my buddy that's a deputy out here I was telling you about. I'm like, hey, man, have you ever hunted this? Yep, I have a cabin. Let's go. I was like, cool.
That is handy.
Yeah. So just, really trying to honestly doing it more for the kids, just trying to make them more self-reliant.
Well, you have to
get the screens out from in front of their faces.
Exactly.
So,
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to the fall, and I'm hoping our boys will get into some bow hunting coming up, because that's obviously what our main passion is,
right.
and whatnot. So
I have a bow, and I have a buddy I go out west bow hunting with every year. I couldn't hit that wall with my bow if I tried, man. To me, hunting, obviously, I want to fill the freezer with meat, but it's more about my cell phone not having any bars than anything else. And so I get the bow tag because, North Dakota's good for the whole season, and not really knowing when I can go out.
Exactly.
But, dude, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that thing.
Practice.
Yep.
So I've got a really bad shoulder, and so I can't hold the draw at all. So I have to have my draw weight down to like 50. I mean,
that works.
But I can't even hold it. So, I mean, it has to be a straight pull and release. And I haven't got there yet, but practice again. Yep. Having shoulder surgery this year, and I'll just get me a crossbow.
There you go. I got one last year.
Yeah, the crossbow.
I haven't shot it much.
Year. Yep, I probably shot mine maybe 20 times.
I haven't even done that.
But I wouldn't say I'm definitely not proficient with it, so just need more practice. But the crossbows are nice, especially, of course,
when you have shoulder issues.
Yeah. So in North Dakota, what are the laws on crossbows out there?
You have to have a medical reason for it.
Doctor, which obviously you would have one.
So. Yeah, unfortunately, my shoulder surgery happens like mid-October, and then my wife is due with our third very beginning in November. My buddy's like, "Hey, what is the plan for hunting this year?" I'm like,
maybe
hate to break it to you, I don't think I'm going this year.
It's going to be a tough.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, nothing like unexpected kids.
Oof. I don't. My son, he was born in November, and so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Hunting is like, God, man, I couldn't go out so much just because she was getting close, and it's like, okay, opening day, I have to get a deer because this kid can come out at any point after this. And if I don't get a deer, I'm not going to hunt the rest of the year, and then I'm screwed. So opening day, a little buck walked out, and so nice. I bagged him, and I think I was home by 9:30. It's like, yeah, this is awesome, and it's never happened like that since. So it's like, man, I got to start thinking of ways to be like, okay, I got to get this deer this day to see if it works. But
my buddy I go out west with, he hunts for antlers. That is what he is there for. He's there for the biggest rack. And the first time I went out with him, he goes, I'm going to tell you one thing. He goes, if you shoot a doe, I will never hunt with you again, and you 100% will carry that out yourself. And I was like, all right, I hate you too, man.
Yeah, right.
But no, he's great to hunt with, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So,
so
I haven't shot a doe.
Really? No, I mean, it's told I'll shoot a doe all day long. They eat good.
I'll shoot when, if I can hit it, if, like I said, I have to be close enough to stab it to get it with the bow. So yeah, sure. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. I've honestly never shot a doe. Not that I haven't wanted to. It seems like, okay, do I shoot one? Oh gosh, then I got to do this because it's the only deer I'm seeing. Is like, I'll wait for a buck to come by. Mm-hmm. Well, if I hunt in my area, I haven't got a doe tag in years because it's lottery. So I'm SOL on that end of it. But even in town, it seems like when I say, yep, I'm taking a doe, I never get the opportunity to take a doe. So I haven't. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've shot some younger bucks, just because it's all I could get. My tag was for a buck.
Yeah.
It had antlers. That's what I got. I didn't kill it for the horns. I want to eat it.
Right. I see steaks and sausage when the deer walks out.
Yep.
That's the lottery system was so foreign to me growing up. Coming up here, like growing up in Mississippi, mind you, I wasn't a big hunter, so I don't know if there was a lottery system down there. If there was, nobody followed it. Like opening day was essentially a federal holiday. Schools were emptied. I was the only kid sitting in school, and deer stands were full at 2:00 in the morning. They're sitting out there waiting, and everybody have beef jerky the next week in school, or not beef jerky, deer jerky.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they just don't follow the lottery system and just kind of do their own thing or what. But I came up and like, oh, you got to put in for the lottery. I'm not playing the Powerball. We're trying to hunt.
Yep. Oh, I was the same way. Never heard of that. And then just the different rules and laws. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Of course, I hunted a lot on private land.
Oh, okay.
Back home. So I remember we were hunting some public land and threw the rifle in the back of the truck, went to meet for lunch. And the one guy's like, hey, let me see your rifle. Okay. So I grabbed it, pulled the shell out, and he goes, you can't drive around with your gun like that. Not in the case. I go, what do you mean? There's nobody else out here. He goes, yeah, you can't do that. Yep. Like, I'm used to back home, we got the gun sitting right beside the seat, and it's like, oh, hey, but
what's on my land is my animal, and that's how it goes.
Yeah. So it's definitely a culture shock, and it's like, and same thing with the lottery and everything, and public land hunting, that was totally different for me, and everybody and nobody cared about the other person. Yep. I mean, I set up a deer stand, I'm sitting in it, and this dude walks right underneath my stand, 30 yards away, goes and crawls in his deer stand. It's like, seriously? Did that honestly just happen where this guy just walked by me, said hi, and then go sit in his deer stand?
Need to carry a little paintball gun with you.
Yeah, I know. Dude.
That was down south. You don't go to public land. Like that was... You're taking your life into your own hands. You go on public land. Nobody's wearing blaze orange in Mississippi. Come on now.
Yep, no doubt. Yeah, definitely different.
Yep.
Yeah.
I grew up around here, so it's all normal to me.
Yeah.
So.
I will say the size of whitetails up here, they're monsters compared to Mississippi. Mississippi, you just throw it over your shoulder and walk out.
Oh, wow.
Like they're monsters up here compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Like you hit and may scratch your car up here. Now you're getting a new one.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. I had a buddy from Mississippi. What town was it? Kosciuszko? No, that's not right.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's not right.
I think you made it up.
I did. I totally messed that name up. God, I can't even think what the hell the name of the town is.
Did he ever teach you how to spell Mississippi?
I learned the good way back in school.
M-I crooked letter I?
Yep.
Yeah. I said that up here one time, and someone was like, what are you smoking? I was like, that's how they teach you to spell Mississippi. Yep. Well, what are we talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't?
M-I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback I.
Yep.
Nope.
That's how you're taught to spell Mississippi.
Yep. That's how we learned it in Southern Kansas too. Yeah. And,
maybe it's just a Southern thing.
It must be. And it was funny because him and I were in college together in Wyoming. And we said that a few times to people, and they thought we were nuts. It's like, what the hell are you saying? It's like, this is how we learned it.
Yeah, it's not my fault. We worked smart, not hard.
Right? Yeah. It was really funny because at times, when we, had a few, we'd have to be each other's interpreters.
Yeah.
Because of course, the more he had, the more Southern he got, the more I had. Sometimes the Southern would come out of me. It's like, yep, we're definitely, deciphering each other's, speeches for people. So
when I lived down south, since we moved quite a bit, people were like, you're not from here. You're from the north. I'm like, no, I'm from here. Then move up here, and I was like, you're not from here. You're from the south. Man, I'm not welcome anywhere.
Don't fit in anywhere.
Yep.
Half breed.
Yep.
Yeah, I still get that. Where are you from? I live just an hour and a half away. No, originally I said, oh, Kansas. I said, I'm not southern from here, but not, not the
Technically,
deep south.
you're not part of the South.
No.
But
Right,
I've had to have that
exactly.
conversation so many times.
Yep.
Right.
When I first started on the department, they're like, oh, we got a guy who's from the South. I was like, oh, where from? Oklahoma. I'm like, it's not South, man.
No,
like
that's central.
Let's understand geography here and then understand like.
Well, I always thought
what's
it was
the
south, deep south.
I mean, yeah,
Mississippi,
depending on who you're
Alabama.
talking to.
No, them guys, that's deep south.
But
Isn't it?
depending on who you're talking to, Louisiana and Florida, that's not part of the deep South.
Yeah, I think I've
you
heard
gotta
that
have
before,
a
too.
passport to go
Right.
there. That's
Yep.
different.
Yep.
And Arkansas, that's sometimes depending on who you're talking to, that's not part of it. I don't consider it because those are some weird.
I was going to say, nobody claims
Never been
Arkansas.
there. Never been there. I do
Nobody
have a buddy
claims
that lives there,
Arkansas.
but he's not from there.
I was driving through the Ozarks one day, and I had just a junker of a car. I was like, I hope this doesn't break down. And you drive through and you see the city signs like, oh, welcome to whatever Arkansas, population 50, and you start hearing the banjos
Yep.
and you're like, I hope I don't break down.
Right? Population 50, but only 2 families.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're just Kansas to be just south of here for sure. But yeah, I don't consider us southern. by
Nobody
any
considers
means.
you southern?
No, we're definitely we're central.
Yeah, you're in the middle.
No,
You're in the middle.
right in the middle of everything. So
Southern enough to not suffer the winters, and
exactly.
north enough to probably not. Well, it gets pretty damn hot down there.
It does. Yeah. The other day, they have 109 heat index. So it's like 101, 102. Then you throw in humidity and 109.
Yep.
It's like, yep, AC time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's, people complain, and I'm one of them. I complain about how cold and the snow all the time. But then I think back to, we lived on a couple acres down in Tennessee, and it'd be 110 degrees with 75% humidity. I can't have my kids outside for more than 15 minutes.
Right. No
So,
way.
it's a give and a take either way. So at least the cold keeps a lot of riffraff out.
Exactly.
I don't know about that, but
And a lot of those poisonous critters too.
yes,
Yeah.
that is one thing that I hate the cold winters. I cannot stand it, And once we get above 2 feet of snow, it's like, really? Why? Why do we have to have that?
Snowmobiling.
Somebody asked me, they're like, hey, do you want to go snowshoeing? I'm like, what? No. Why does that even exist? Right? And then snowmobiling? Yeah, let me go drive, 30 miles an hour while my face freezes off. No, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. How about being from Kansas and going ice fishing for the first time? It's like, what? And everybody back home, and it's like, hey, you go ice fishing on the lake. It's like, yeah, I'll go like a couple miles out sometimes, and there's a city out there pretty
village.
much, And
Do
it's
you remember
like,
the original Mighty Ducks?
Yes.
Where Coach Bombay drives on the ice. He's like, I know the ice. Growing up in Mississippi, I was like, that dude is crazy. He's got huge testicles. And then you come up here and there's whole villages. I'm like, you guys are so drunk right now. No way am I. And then you want to drive it out there and then put a hole in it. I'm like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
And some of the ice houses, you've got like 10 holes.
Yep.
And they're being pulled by a 1 ton. It's like, man.
God, you can hear it crack sometimes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
means you should go home.
Oh, dude, I had a crack come right through the hole one time, and I jumped like 4 feet, and I started unzipping, and the guy was fishing. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm getting out of here, man." He's like, "Just relax. It's the ice. It does that." I go,
It's
"That is
normal.
not right. This is not right."
I had a bunch of partners. The deputy up here, he was one of them, convinced me. He's like, dude, you got to come out to the ice castle. I'm like, oh, fine. Pull out there. Luckily, I was in my wife's Jeep, super light. And there, I was like, all right, where are you at? And they're like, oh, we're, this house, whatever over there. I'm like, how do I get to you? Like, just drive on the ice. I was like, no. Like, yes. Either you're driving or you're walking. I was like, well, I guess I'm going home. Anyways, scariest moment of my life. I had to drive that Jeep out on the ice and it's cracking. I'm like,
Yep. I always have the windows down, and the one time I had the door, I got my foot in the door. It's like, I'm getting out of here. I was like, no.
I'm the opposite. Windows completely up. If I go down, I'm just going to go down. I'm just make it quick.
I figured I'd give myself the opportunity to potentially get out.
You can get out. I mean, Bill went down and he got all the screw got out. I mean, he had a second.
I had a foot chase when I was on the department shortly after I got here. So, you have retaining ponds down south, but they're just empty. There's nothing in them. Anyways, it's like January. I chased this dude across the ice and fell through this retaining pond while I was there. Man, that was the most miserable hour of my life trying to reheat. I will just cut me out. Don't save me from the water. Just let me go. I don't want to go back through that. Like reheating that sucked.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad.
I did catch the guy though. So
that's
there
good.
You go. Bonus. So sweet. Mississippi mosquitoes.
Minnesota's so much worse, man.
Yeah.
Like I think Mississippi may have a higher volume of mosquitoes, but up here they're pterodactyls. Like, dude, they're huge. Right.
They're healthy.
On the 4th of July, I swatted one on my arm, and it's a huge, just like splatter after that. Man, they're insane up here, dude.
This year especially
the welts. I don't know what it is, but man, you get bit by a mosquito anywhere else, you don't get welts. Here they leave a welt.
See, I'm used to. I don't get welts.
They have full on beaks here.
Yeah. I think I saw a hummingbird and a mosquito fighting the other day at the bird feeders. Like, seriously,
I killed one on my arm. I think it was yesterday, and I had to pull it out of my arm. It didn't fall. It was still stuck in there.
That was, when we first moved up here, everyone was like, "Oh, the state bird of Minnesota is a mosquito." And I laughed. Like, yeah, I'm from Memphis. Like, we're on the Mississippi.
Right.
You see legitimate swarms of mosquitoes up there, dude. They have nothing on them up here, man. It's a completely different species.
Yeah, and I think about the only thing to get rid of them is pretty much 100% DEET or napalm. It's the only way to get rid of mosquitoes.
I love me some DEET.
I sprayed my yard the other day, and I got it's some good stuff, but it helped for about maybe a couple hours. It's like, man, I'm just gonna burn everything. I'm just gonna live in rocks.
Yep.
Yeah. But we got on a mosquito tangent.
Yeah, that's what we're good for, going on tangents. Yeah. So, law enforcement. You were in law enforcement.
Yep.
City cop?
Yeah. So I worked Memphis City for a while. Neighborhood I worked was a Raleigh-Fraser area. That was, at the time, it was the most violent neighborhood in America per capita. I don't know if it's still that way or not. And then went up to the Fargo area and was a cop in that area for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, about 7.5 years total, I think.
Okay.
Something
that had to be a culture shock.
Oh, dude, it's a completely different career field.
I can only imagine.
That was like I had to go through a full field training program again when I got up here, and everyone's like, "Man, you have experience. You shouldn't go through that." It's like, that's a different job, man. It's not even remotely close to being the same. So I was thankful for the full training regiment. Yeah. So Memphis is balls to the walls. Your homicide shootings, carjackings, chasing people, having a whole lot of fun. The problem when you have fun on law enforcement, it's probably not a good area to raise your family.
Right.
And that's the trade-off. Like Fargo, or the Fargo area, the department I worked in, it was so boring, but it's a wonderful place to raise my kids.
Yeah.
And that's, if it takes me to be bored at work for my kids to have a good childhood, sure.
Yeah.
So
good trade-off for sure.
day. Yeah,
exactly.
Don't have to worry about my wife getting mugged going to Walmart or anything. So it's good.
That's the one plus side of where we live. I mean, obviously anything can happen anywhere, but being that much further away from big metropolitan areas, you have a little bit, less of a chance. Never zero, but less.
Right.
I mean, you guys had the major crime of Dorothy's shoes being stolen, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Capital crimes.
Yeah, that was big news. That was big news.
I don't want to I can't get away from the Wizard of Oz.
No, you can't.
Oh,
you come to Kansas, you come here.
Yeah.
So it's funny. My buddy who's a deputy here, his dad, I guess, handled that case for the police department, was on Expedition Unknown. So my buddy had just started on the department down there, and I see the name pop up, and I was like, took a picture and texted. I was like, "Hey, is this your dad?" He was like, "That's the creepiest thing anybody's ever sent me."
Investigating Dorothy slippers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Beats homicides, I think.
100% it does.
Yeah.
You get some interesting stuff, though. Criminals can be the absolute most creative people you meet. And especially when they hear, hey, there's a way I can have a gun and not get arrested for being a convicted felon, i.e. a black powder. And so there's this road that's like an S curve, and there's a really violent apartment complex that sits on one of the corners, and he had a black powder pistol, and so when he was driving by, he cross braced it so the pistol was still in the car, and when he fired it, the car filled with smoke, and he just hit a telephone pole head on. So it's like, man, you just in a million years you couldn't make that up. Like drive by with the black powder and then smoke a telephone pole.
That is awesome.
Yeah, didn't think that one through. That's for sure.
No.
Mm-hmm. Crazyville.
Yep.
Definitely, earn the name Smoke Pole on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, it looks like you got an audience waiting for you out there, bud.
The block bros.
The block bros themselves.
Exactly. That's pretty cool.
Right here. So yeah, and we appreciate you coming over and talking with us.
appreciate you.
And I
Yeah,
want people to
exactly.
check out your podcast,
Tea
Tea Party Solutions.
Yeah, so podcast, Tea Party Solutions, Facebook, Tea Party Solutions.
Right.
Our range is on Facebook, it's The Range FM, websites, therange701.com.
Right.
All of our Tea Party stuff is on that website. So if you want to check out some of our instructors, we don't have all of them on there, but some are on there. We'll update classes. Facebook is the best way to follow us for classes when we're not banned or suspended from it.
Right.
But yeah, slowly stuff's coming out, and then
Check out the
Block
Range.
Bros.
Check out the Block
on there.
Bros.
Exactly.
Got the little ghillie guy. I'll put a picture on there.
They have one with a snow ghillie suit too.
Oh,
But
that's
they
cool.
only had one, so I don't want you guys fighting over it.
Right.
Yeah, we probably would know enough.
I just love these little rifles.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate you making the drive and everything, and I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
So
We'll get you guys some med kits up here too.
Awesome.
that'd be cool. And we'll see if we can make a schedule and make a trip. So,
Yeah, I want to get out there and check out that
Yeah,
range. That
I do
sounds so
too.
Come on
fun.
out.
So
Yeah, especially if you can bring your own little firearms.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
sure.
awesome.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cool. Well, appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming over.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.